Hey and welcome to the Creative Odyssey Podcast, a podcast about entrepreneurship, creativity and personal growth by me, Emil Ruth. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to the Creative Odyssey Podcast. Today I'm here with Pia Leichter. And how are you, Pia?
I'm good. How are you doing, Emil?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty fine. It's all a bit hectic and a lot projects are going on at the same time as many creatives do, and you probably can see yourself in. So what are your current projects? Or first off, describe yourself. Who are you?
I'm a human being on planet Earth. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, okay.
No,
Check.
it's just such a big question. Who am I? My name is Pia. I live in Copenhagen, though I grew up on the Lower East Side, Manhattan, and also Montreal. So I've lived in many different countries. I'm a recovering nomad, but I decided to drop anchor in Copenhagen many years ago and go on the adventure of discovering what it feels like to be in one place for a while instead of moving all the time.
Yeah, that's a cool thing. And it's not that far away from me. I'm here in northern Germany in Bremerhaven. It's actually one like the Danish mayor founded the city. That's why it's spelled with a V instead with an F. So these are the similarities that we actually was founded by a Danish mayor. But that's just a little fun fact.
I like that fun fact. I have another fun fact for you. Leichter, or Lichter as we have bastardized it in America, is a German last name.
Yeah.
So on my father's side, my grandfather's family emigrated from Germany to the United States generations ago. And
Probably from Bremerhaven. It was the biggest
Really?
immigration port. Yeah, we do have the German immigration center. So it's funny that or at least my hometown is being known for people going away from Germany. So
how interesting.
Yeah. So it's probably, you could probably look it even up in like the glossary of people and the ships. It's you can actually do that. So it's funny that the connections are even across the globe are pretty close. So that's funny. Yeah.
It is funny. And normally, I mean, pronouncing my last name can be challenging for many because my full name is like Pia Mailhot-Leichter, but I say Lichter. We've Americanized it, right? But whenever I speak to Germans, they just like, Leichter, or however you pronounce it properly.
Leichter. It's like lighter. It's
Exactly.
lighter. Leichter.
Exactly. And there's no problem. But usually everyone is like, could you phonetically pronounce your name before we, hit record? I'm like, of course.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It was so obvious to me. And your first surname is probably Montreal French.
Yes.
And I thought it was Mailhot.
Yes. I've gotten that a lot. I got teased a lot growing up. But it's like maillot, like a maillot de bain. It's like a bathing suit. It's spelled like that, except there's an H instead of two L's.
Yeah. Didn't know that.
Yeah. But I remember being in first grade in Brooklyn and PS 321 actually. And when you're learning to write your name, you have like these big pieces of paper on the desk with your name on it, and you just practice writing your name over and over again.
Yep.
I remember looking over at Jessica Jones feeling really jealous. Like what? Pia Gem Mailhot-Leichter. I was like, but we made it. Now I just tease people with my name, trying to pronounce it, except for Emil and people from Germany. Then it becomes easy.
Yeah. I can feel that. It's at least internationally, it's kind of hard for others to pronounce my name because it's kind of German, kind of Danish. It's the only population where my last name is like more widespread. There's like 8 people in Germany with my name, and like probably every 10th is called Drut, even Emil Drut, and it's something that I've always found interesting. I need to get back on, but
Drud.
Yeah.
See, I would have Americanized it and say Drud. but
Yeah,
that's
it's
clearly
not
not.
drut. It's more like
Good.
I think you could pronounce it like DROOD.
Drud.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Okay.
close. That's close.
Close enough.
Yeah, that's close enough. But that's not the topic.
No,
Pronunciation
no,
is
we're
such a
going off on a mini tangent, but yeah, no, it's a big question. Like who are we, right? And I don't know, not to go off on yet another tangent, but it's like I'm the universe expressing itself.
yeah.
That's
It's
who I
like
am.
everything.
I'm everything. I'm the universe, experiencing itself through a physical form in life. Because in so many ways, how we define ourselves is not our own, right? It's like the country we're born,
Yeah,
names we're given. It's like it's not who I am. It's part of who I am, I suppose, but I'm much more than that. So it's just a very interesting question. Who are you? Yeah.
I know. It seems to be like a super simplistic question, but it gets going because it is not that easy. I see many people just describing their vita, where they like technically where they're coming from, how they grew up, what they've done for projects, or where they're working in, and I do this as a kind of experiment. What will they say? And I don't expect like, my name is so, and I'm this year old, and I was born in. This is nothing that I'm curious about. I'm curious about how are they, or are they even describing themselves, as it is extremely hard, especially for creatives. I think if you go traditional route, it's so easy to say where you're coming from, what is your job, which is like in the West the main thing of, if I'm not asking you what are you doing, or who are you, is one thing. But if someone's saying, in Germany we often say, and what are you doing, and this means job. It's so
Yeah.
funny that doing basically means what is your job.
Yeah. Absolutely. And instead of like, who are you being in the world?
Yeah.
I think that's a very interesting question. Like, who are you being? Or I like to ask, what's exciting you right now?
That's a good question.
Yeah. Instead of like, what do you do? Because that will tell me a lot more about a person. Like, what's exciting you right now?
What's exciting me right now?
Yeah.
Okay. It's funny that you got so like super deep spiritual in the way of expressing that you are the universe expressing itself. And I'm currently on like a hyper focusing on like Eastern spiritualism, like Hinduism, Buddhism again. And this came from just the pure curiosity of trying to become a bit more calmer, a bit more deliberate in my action, and be in a peace. And that's kind of how I got into like more Hinduism. It is actually because from like a Balinese spa kind of thing and it's just struck my interest that even like incense sticks and everything, the feeling make me more interested in like Hinduism, and at least to get to know it and where it's coming from, the roots and the different expressions. Because like Buddhism is something that is kind of more known and more common sense for like the Western mind, or at least myself, and it seems so clear that the non-attachment and stuff like that. But I was so curious about the super particularity and the different kind of little things that you got there, and the non-duality, and that it's so super expressive in comparison to my spiritual kind of viewpoint from this on. Yeah, that's what's interesting me.
That's fascinating. I took a Hinduism class at the New School in New York City years ago for some of the same reasons. And there was one line, and I'm pretty sure it was from the Vedas, and it was in Sanskrit, but in English it's something like, that which is cannot cease to be. And I really love that. It's like that. If you exist, there is no death. There is just you changing form, just like water moves between, ice and it flows and it can, it could turn into steam when boiled. It's like that which is cannot cease to be.
Yeah.
And that always, and I found that very inspiring. It stayed with me.
I can totally see that. And there are some like sentences that really, for me, I need to take some time to really digest them, what they really mean. And it's hard because some of these ideas are shaking up like my viewpoint from like the Creative Odyssey is a way of challenging and becoming. And the whole thing of becoming itself was challenged through just being. And I like to contrapoint myself with that and try to accept that being is something to really accept instead of constantly want to become something else.
Here's what I love. I love to remind myself and others that we can hold both. That's really important. Like we can be fully immersed in our being and in the present moment and who we are in this moment. Look at this. This is good, right? As we kind of stretch into our becoming.
Yeah.
Like both things can be true at once. I think we run into trouble when we forget one and just focus. Well, maybe not the being part. I think we run into trouble when we forget about the being and just focus only on the becoming.
Yeah.
Because to me, there's some scarcity in that. Like this moment is not enough as it is, or I'm not enough right now as I am. I'll only achieve or be enough when I get this thing or become this thing.
Yeah.
And so I think that has sort of a dangerous edge to it. As beautiful as it can be to imagine and to dream, and that's part of creativity too, right? I've been thinking about that a lot lately. The importance of imagination and being able to dream of different futures and who we get to become and the projects we get to do, and all of that's really important. But we also need to be anchored in reality.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like holding both again. So we don't just live in the fiction of our mind.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really, really important. It's like the one thing I think I found in Buddhism, one point is like the middle way. So it's not either. So it's both, and it's not the extremes. But I can see that I can totally do not be okay with just being. Instead of then I want to become better at just being, and then I'm trapped inside myself. So I cannot just exist, and then I try to optimize for meditation. I try to be better at just being, and that's not the point. So that's kind of funny.
It is. We get stuck. We apply the same philosophy or principle to being as we do everything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's just about becoming aware of when we're imbalanced. Like I can get imbalanced and move into this like, the becoming and what I want to have next and what I want to do next. And like feel like the desire for more. Right.
Yeah.
And then I have to catch myself and also just like be where I am and enjoy reality as it is right now, as I also move into more, So it's just, to me, it's just about that awareness piece. And something that might sound frivolous that helped me today is I love scent, like just like your incense, right? Brought you somewhere. Like for me, perfumes or scents kind of bring me a pocket of pleasure and also back into the present. And I found a new one that smells like picking blackberries by the ocean with like the salt water in the air and like the scent of old wood and like moss. Oh, so it's like I just smell it throughout the day and I just take a moment. I'm like, that's good on me. That's nice. And it's just like a grounding moment of just pleasure, being here, enjoying what's available to me when I'm actually here for it.
Yeah. That is something that I didn't do like this consciously, but I did do that in some kind. We just tend to use like perfumes to smell good, but not to reframe it as being in the moment. And I could really try that because scents do have a direct path into our minds instead of getting over barriers, and it's like directly linked is something I've read along the way, and this should really work. And coming to the thing that you said before, and like desiring more and more and wanted to do more and more projects, is something that if this is imbalanced, probably it's harder to actually realize projects. I've seen this when I'm like full on like the idea phase, and I could not only imagine writing a book and finishing a book and having it published, I imagine having multiple books, a whole series. Then I imagine a career where I could maybe talk about them. I connect different kind of books and want to reference, and I even have like the revision of my own books inside of my head that I will do in 10 years, when I know this is like version 1, but in 10 years I can like revise it and then republish it. And this is something that doesn't really help me in getting anything done. It's just wanting more. It's like the desirability and a bit I can hide inside that thought.
Yeah, because it feels like you're doing something.
Yeah.
Because you're dreaming about it, you're imagining it, without actually doing something.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous thing. And for me, it applies pressure because I've been thinking about writing my next book.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it's going to be about. I have a lot of ideas that are bubbling around. And then I start to kind of put this pressure on myself of like, I should know what it is. And I'm not creating space just to like journal or jot notes. Like I haven't created space for that.
Yeah.
So how can I know what it's going to be if I'm not creating space for it just to like emerge? There's no timeline. I'd like to start in January, and not holding on to the idea of what I need it to do for me or what I need it to be. Like, oh, it needs to be great. It needs to do all these things. And it kind of, that really gets in the way of my creativity instead of just like allowing. And I think that's connected to what we're talking about with like Buddhism or Hinduism in the present moment, is because we need to also be here for ideas to drop through, to be received, just to kind of be where we are and trust our own process and trust where we are without trying to jump ahead to be someplace else, because we can't get someplace else if we're not willing to be where we are right now and to see what comes through and to think and to like take notes and to create space for ideas to bubble up and all of that. So I think that goes together. I think what we're talking about is very connected to the creative process as well.
Yeah, I think so too. And if I'm trying to connect it to the metaphor of the Odyssey, it is important to be present in order to steer the wheel when the storm comes up. It is okay if you take your time to navigate when the sea is like still and you have a long view, you can see the ocean. But you need to be in present moment to take action. And this is really something that is like a cadence, a rhythm, and you need to have both. And I'm super curious about your next book. So you have the feeling of, you kind of manifest that there will be another book, as in like to give your thoughts and your energy like a space to be in, but you're not really sure about what it would be, or in case of the output, or do you have like as you said, you don't really have like notes and stuff like that, but do you have like a few sparks that might be influential?
I have a few sparks. My gut is telling me that I need to kind of create more space in my everyday.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. I have other projects going on in order to just kind of be with ideas and be with what might be possible. And I spoke to my editor and she said something that was really powerful. She said, whatever the ideas might be, you really need to identify and articulate your why. Why are you writing this book? And I don't know, it might sound obvious, but especially for a fiction book as well, like that seems more obvious if it's a nonfiction, but my next book feels like it's going to be definitely a fiction piece. So it's like, why is this story important? Why do I, Pia, universe expressing itself, need to tell the story? What is it? What's important about it to me? And no one needs to ever read that, but I need to be clear on that. She said that will guide your process through the whole, like that, no matter, how characters might change, the book ideas might change. It's like the why kind of is your anchor on your Odyssey. The why is like, okay, this is why I need to tell this story. This is what I would love for this story to do in the world, or for the world. So, but all of that needs space. And I think just back to your comment about the storm and, being able to take action in the present moment, I also think it's about not taking action. I think we over-index on the doing. We over-index on action. And sometimes it's also just slowing it down. So, like this is me and, I don't know, you can't see this, but anyway, I'm moving my hand to like slow down my wheel. This is like slowing it down to be able to see the dolphins jumping out of the water and to like see formations in the clouds that might give you an idea, and just to like allow your creativity the space to emerge, connect dots, not forcing it, not trying, not overdoing it with doing. Like, I got to do this. Like, it's got to find the answer to what this book's going to be, and I'm just going to push and push and push. Like, I also don't think that's the way. So knowing when to apply effort, when to drive, and when to take your foot off the gas and just lean back and sort of allow and dream and imagine and let things settle is an important creative skill.
That resonates a lot with something I came across a few days ago about Bukowski. And I don't know any works from him, but that would stick with me is kind of the notion that was referenced, and like living your life and write. He's a writer, and write when the fire hits. And if it don't, just live your life, walk in the sun, drink a beer, pet a cat, sit down, and only it's like a world of like more intensity. He's not someone who's going to say, get your 500 words in every day to get going. And I've read that a lot as for like recommendations of starting being a writer or an author to get the practice. But I see there's a lot of value in not pushing it. And I've done the same for my book. Every time I try to make the progress go faster, it was bad. There were words, but they did not really resonate with me. So I'm glad you're on the same page with me on that point.
Definitely. More than word count, I think for me it's about showing up. Especially if I'm in the process of writing a book or doing any creative endeavor. It's like, okay, I'm going to show up for an hour, 2 hours, whatever the time frame is, and I'm just going to see what comes through. I'm not going to pressure myself like I have to do this, like, oh, I have to complete 10,000 words in 2 hours otherwise. And obviously I wouldn't do that, but like otherwise it doesn't count or it's not good. It's just like, hey, I'm just going to show up for myself and my creativity and my art, and I'm going to see what comes through.
Yeah, you're creating the space.
Yeah, because sometimes the fire might not be there. Love Bukowski, it's a great sentiment. It's very true. Live your life, and when you feel the fire, create from that space. But sometimes the fire is not present right away. So if we just wait for the fire, we might be waiting too long. Sometimes you just show up and see what happens when we do, and not expect anything to come from it. That helps me a lot.
If we try, I try to get inspired from a lot of different sources, really, and I'm really open for that. And if I think about this metaphor, he kind of emphasizes like going full in, either you're doing it or not. Like, don't try, and if you're going to try, you go all in. Do you think it is possible if you're showing up than to wait if the fire hits or not? Or should we try to ignite it, to really set it ourselves?
I think showing up and sitting down is how you sit by the logs without expecting fire to leap up, but more just like, I'm just going to sit by these logs and like, see what happens. But I'm going to be here so that, if this is a bad metaphor, but I think the fire comes when you create space for it.
Yeah.
That's what I think. So I think when I show up to write, I'm just like, whatever comes out, I'm happy with. It can be shit. It doesn't matter. But I'm just happy. I've already won because I'm just sitting here and showing up for my work.
Yeah.
That takes a humongous pressure off of me for the work to have to be something. And that usually lights a fire because it's fun to create. I enjoy it. So it's like, okay, if I get to just write whatever without it having to be good, then it starts to kind of get something flowing, and the fire does start. Whether it becomes a raging flame or, a little flicker of a lighter, I don't know. It doesn't really matter, but something gets lit up.
Yeah, it's definitely better to not have the pressure. And I don't know if I'm generalizing here, but I think many creatives are very sensitive to or sensible to pressure. And even the smallest amount could really diminish a lot of their creative energy. And it's so hard because at least I am like almost self-imposing the pressure, even if it's not there. I'm creating like a book no one ever asked for. This is just for me. I'm not expecting to have more than 20 people who buy it actually, and that would mean a lot to me. It's work for me only, but I still apply the pressure on it being like the greatest I am capable of right now. Not the best book in the world, but at least the best I could do. And this is like a constant thing that swings with me.
But how do you know what your best is?
It's impossible to know. It's like it's a limit that just says it is not enough, but it doesn't say what is. That's a doubt that doesn't explain itself. It's not even constructive.
No, and I guess first of all, I just want to say, let's normalize it. I think we all put limitations on ourselves.
Yeah.
What got in the way of my writing of the first book was me. I got out of my own way, but I had to realize that it wasn't the creativity that was blocked. It was me that was getting in my own way for needing to know exactly what the book was going to be about, needing it to be great before I even really started writing it through. And I needed to work through all of those things to get out of my way so that my creativity could flow. So I think we all do that. So we have to ask ourselves, what is the best we can be? And for me, it comes back again to, hey, it's showing up just the way you are.
Yeah.
Doing the work just as you are right now. That's enough. That's the best you can be. What else is there?
Yeah.
Can't be anybody else. You know what I mean?
It's just the work we can do. We can try and to put it out as true to ourselves as we can.
Yeah. I think that's a really powerful question. Instead of asking, is this good or bad?
Yeah.
Asking yourself, is this true for me? Does it feel true?
That's a good indicator. To be aligned with what you do, and instead of having like metrics and to evaluate. Yeah, that makes sense. So once you figure it out to what is true instead of what you want your book to be, how did you get into writing Welcome to the Creative Club?
Well, that's what helped me unleash the writing. Is in the beginning, I think it's happening again with this new idea from a fiction book. It can be scary not to know, like, what is this book exactly going to be about? Like, what is it, and how am I going to write it, and what is it going to be like? And I need to know. And I think the book needs to do these things. And when I was in that space, like I just was blocking myself, right? And then when I say, I don't know what the book's going to be, I know what my intention is. I know why I'm writing it. That was important. I want to make an impact in the world. I want to reconnect people to their innate creativity so they can apply it to the design of their lives. Like that felt really important to me. How exactly I'm going to invite people into that, I had to write my way through it. That was how I found out, was I had to write it. I wasn't going to find out before writing it, which is a strange thing we demand from our creativity. And it's not very creative to sit down and know what the outcome is going to be.
No.
Right? That's like the opposite of creativity. So we need to be capable of building our capacity not to know and to get curious about what's going to come through.
Yeah, that's cool. And I've heard from so many authors that they kind of say that they got everything already laid out and just wrote it down. So they kind of had the big idea and then they begin to write a book to just like realize it. But something that you've just said that I can definitely see myself is that it is not something that is just a task to from thought to written word. It is something that emerges and the dots connect while you're doing it. And it's something you can really read in books when they're not just laying out a very technical form of structure, but you feel the different branches and kind of paths that came along the way that are not planned and laid
100%. And I think that also comes from, maybe you might have some ideas about what you'd like the structure to be or where you're going, but you're willing and courageous enough to let it go. Like not to hold on to it because it feels known and safe, but be like, okay, this one way, but let's see what's going to come through when I write. Let's see what other ways might be revealed to me. Like, I don't know. And I think that combination is a good one for me, at least, because it's like, okay, I have some indication, like, you know what I mean? To get me like going.
A loose frame.
Exactly. I have some framework or some frame, and then I'm willing to let it go. I say to my work or, whoever I'm creating with something bigger, like, all right, cool. I'm all right with also letting this go. Maybe you have bigger plans or bigger ideas for what this book could be. Yeah.
That kind of reminds me of the first time, I think it was when COVID started, 2021, or not when it started, but when it was like in full bleed. And I just rediscovered reading and self-help books and nonfiction again. And I wanted to write something when I open up like pages and try to write a book. And then I started with some good ideas that I later revisited and then put into my upcoming book. But then I see at some point I just show up every kind of creativity technique and method that I found online and just pasted it in there, and I could restructure and rewrite it so it sounds my own. But at some point it was just like a Wikipedia article. It was not something of me anymore. And then I needed to let it rest because I was not ready to write it. It was just like a list. Who wants to write a list of everything? There's no connection, no touch in it, nothing.
So tell me about the book you're writing now.
Yeah, so the main thing is like the Creative Odyssey theme that kind of goes through all of my life, at least the Odyssey, which is my favorite myth and influenced a lot of my thoughts. And so my book is called Navigating the Creative Odyssey, and embracing it's so funny that I'm butchering my subtitle all the time. Embracing curiosity, courage, and the chaos of creation. Yeah. And it's more like a compilation of different perspectives you can get in or take taking a perspective is something, that is the expression. And it could be anything from being counterintuitive to being deliberate, to be bold, be still, be patient, be multidisciplinary. And I found these little essays to be more of my current way of thinking, where I wanted to first have like a more cohesive body of work, but I kind of gathered everything that I learned from these conversations and my own introspection. And this will be my upcoming book. Yeah.
Well, how many essays do you have?
It is about 50 chapters. So this might be about 50 essays. Some of them are shorter, most of them like one or a few pages long. So it's, I think, probably 200 in a few pages. Not a big book, something to take inspiration from.
It'd be interesting if there's like the Creative Odyssey, 50 essays that help do what, or 50 essays that, help you embrace courage, is like help you embrace the chaos of creativity. 50 essays that help you. Like, I'm just throwing stuff. I'm sure I'm not trying to change your title.
I'm too close to the finish line.
But I think it's nice when there's an indication of like what people are going to get from the book. I think that's interesting. And the Creative Odyssey as a headline, a title, is already really powerful.
Yeah.
Like without even navigating. And then it's like 50 essays that help you do what? You know what I mean? It's just that's what popped up for me anyway, as I'm listening. Because it seemed important as you talk about different perspectives, and there are different essays that are not necessarily all connected, but they're all different viewpoints into navigating. It would be great to signal that to the potential reader right away before they even pick up the book. And they're like, oh, because that might make them pick up the book. Like, because
that's
then they know that
I really thought about a lot. And I try to have like this listicle thing, because many books do that, like so-and-so ways to do X and Y. And I don't know where I kind of decided to just let it the title, but you're definitely right. I always have the thought of how can I like translate it and make it marketable, but I also want to have like the creative integrity on having
definitely.
Like
well, it's not, for me, it's not even marketable. It's just letting people know what they're getting from the book. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's like, I didn't necessarily do a great job with that, because my book is part memoir, part gentle rebellion, part manifesto. So it's many things, but there's a book that Brianna West, her name is, and she wrote a book called, I think it's like 101 essays that will change your life. Yeah. That's what popped up when you said the essay thing for some reason. And then like they're all different essays. So I don't know if she did that to be marketable, but it's quite, what you're getting when you pick up that book. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to get a group of random, like not random, but not necessarily connected essays, but that's the format. And I think a lot of people like that, because then it's a different way of reading, right? You can just pick it up anywhere and just put it back down. And so it kind of indicates that. So, and I really do love the Creative Odyssey, because that piques my curiosity. You don't even need to navigate it. Like the Creative Odyssey, like 50 essays that help you do what? Anyway.
Yeah, you're
take
right.
It or compost it, Emil, but that's
definitely.
Funny.
It makes sense, because I'm trying, I'm also like, it's funny because I'm a German native. I wrote the book in English and now I'm retranslating it back to German for my family and everyone who wants to read it in German. And the title translation, it is funny because English seems to be more okay with being like overly dramatic, and it sounds normal, but in German it would sound way off. So like embracing sounds more like hugging, and like to master something would be to like really have figured it out. And mastering something in English is like, you get better at it. It seems like it is more like a gap, but the translation for the German title would be the Creative Odyssey. How to create, or how to how to get use of the creative chaos through curiosity and courage. So it's a bit more it's a typical self-help nonfiction kind of phrasing.
Interesting. Well, I think there was some kind of insight when you said you kept stumbling on the subtitle.
Yeah.
To me, there's an insight in there. Because you said I keep stumbling, so it's not the first time.
It is not. It's so
exactly.
funny.
So that to me, there's an insight.
Yeah, you revealed that. You really revealed something right for me. That if I can't even get it right, and I'm humble enough to prove that the Creative Odyssey is full for like the insecurities that come with the uncertain and beautiful creative way. And you're definitely right. So
yeah, I think it's something to explore. But here's something to think about as well. Like the insecurities, yes, but what if we activated curiosity instead of judgment? Do you know what I mean? Like using that more as a data point. Like, oh, I keep stumbling. That's interesting. Let me get curious about that.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something else that's asking to be created or awarded. Like maybe this is your intuition, your creative intuition's talking to you in some way. And then it's more of a curiosity than something not being right. It's just that maybe there's an opportunity for something to be sharper or more aligned with the book.
Exactly. It is something, as you said, it's basically the same thing that it is not the book that I want to have a certain way, but in this case, it is the title. I want to have have the title like it is right now, but maybe it should be adjusted. But I wanted to have like these specific words in it because it seems to be so logical to have that in, and I want to have all of these three aspects in there, and they have a place in the book. They're kind of loose sections that come with it, but maybe then I was too strict and too limiting when it came to my title as well. This is something that kind of both annoys me, but in a good way, because it's like a little bug that says, yeah, she's right. You're stumbling on your subtitle. You need to maybe change that. But
well, we also fall in love with our ideas too sometimes and get wedded to them. Like I just finished making a spoken word album with some of the poems in the book with my musician and producer. It was really fun. Yeah. And there was one track, the demo, like the original one was almost like the demo. I loved it so much when he started to make changes to it, to refine it. And he's the producer, not me. I was almost like, that first one though, because I kind of got attached to it. And then he said, you might have what we call in music demoitis. And I never heard that before because it's
I know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So it was like, oh, demoitis. So I just think of that applied to a lot of things, not just music, right? Like we kind of can get stuck on an idea or something that we really think could work. And that can also be how we get in our way or get in the way of our creativity.
The funny thing is, and I'm also a music producer, and I recorded a few songs, and I'm still doing that, but not like as my full main path. But there's both sides of these first demo. Why this is both. Probably it is not as good as you think it is from the outside perspective, but also it is so hard to catch the same energy you have on your first take when you're doing the song. You cannot recreate it. And I've heard that from so many artists who late night sat on their laptop with their mic, wrapped a blanket on it to be a bit more quiet so the neighbors to not hear it. And maybe they have then the abilities or the financial abilities to then recreate and record it in the studio, but you cannot hear the same emotions in their voice. You cannot hear the spirit. And this is why some people just stick to do just home recording and do it as good as they can do at home, but not to then kind of reframe the whole context to a sterile kind of studio and then be exposed to the microphone and everyone's watching, and then you need to recreate the same, I don't know, heartbreak or whatever it is. It's so hard. But at the same time, if you do have like a shitty microphone in your home and it sounds like you've done it in the bathroom with your iPhone microphone, nobody can hear it because it sounds so shitty. So you need to be equipped right for your first demo, at least, that it's like okay enough.
Well, for me, all this speaks to intuition in many ways. I think there's like a part of us that knows where we need to go, where we need to take something, when we need to let an idea go, when we need to open ourselves up to something else, when we need to stick to something that came through and had a lot of heart.
Mm.
You know, I think the only way to answer those questions is to really ask yourself and check in with your heart and your gut, not just your analytical mind.
You're right. And instead of trying to polish something and taking off the edges and just leave it there, and I see this to be a lot more valuable right now, especially in the age of AI and perfectionism.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. I mean, I think the more human and raw and authentic and true and beautifully flawed in the best of ways that we can make our creations, whatever it's a book or music, I think that's what's needed, especially to return to our humanity in many ways, which is our creative nature. I mean, if you're a human, you're a born creative.
Yes.
That's that, right?
I agree.
So I think it's a return to that, less having it to be marketable or polished or, you know, exactly pitch perfect in every, like that. I don't think that's what's going to capture people's imaginations and hearts these days. Especially because of the counterbalance of AI.
Yeah. And I think that the counterpart maybe is a chance to stand out as a creator. And creativity, especially in the way I see it, in like overcoming challenges and reframing everything, and also like finding a way to navigate the technological advancements. There's something I see many creatives, the truly creatives, not only the skilled people who are good in their field or know how to produce X with Y and know how to paint, but the creative are those who overcome the different times and try to find a way to let their voice speak through any kind of medium. And that is why the whole thing is a big chance, I think.
Absolutely. I read an interesting piece about how creativity and art, depends how you express your creativity. It comes in many, many different forms, not just artistic expression.
Yep.
Is really about, in many ways, it's also how we transmute our pain and how we make sense of our existence.
Yeah.
And it's who we get to become in the process of creating, not only the output or the achievement itself, and that we give up a part of ourselves and a part of who we might get to become if we hand that over to AI.
Yeah, you're right. So it's kind of a sovereignty thing to be human, to create is to be human.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I think this is a good phrase to kind of end this
Definitely.
conversation. Yeah, it feels like the conversation flow is just makes sense because we started with like Hinduism and the whole spiritual thing, and then we can end it here. Is there anything else you might want to add or recommend for the listeners?
Oh, just thank you so much for the opportunity to talk about the Creative Odyssey and journey, and just to show up fully together in this space.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time, and your insights was more like a counseling for me, and it did help a lot. And thank you. And if you need any kind of creative back and forth for your book, let me know if that feels right. But
Thanks.
See you next time.
See you next time.
Bye. If you've enjoyed listening to my podcast, you can show support
by following me and hit the bell to never miss out on my latest content. I'd appreciate a positive review too. You can find more of my content on www.emilruth.com. Thanks and bye for now.